Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. We'd like to take this opportunity to share with you some key information about Sydney's Event Showcase and how you can maximise your business development opportunities during the lead up, at the event and after as well. So we've got a few speakers joining us this morning. I'll be providing an overview about the events and how we're going to drive visitors. Gary Daly, our CEO from Exhibition Trade Fairs, will be speaking about top tips for exhibiting. We've got Felicity Zadro from Zadro Communications on marketing and leading up to the event, and Belinda Maund, who's our operations manager, with some information about the exhibitor manual. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Gary Daly, our CEO, for some top tips on exhibiting. Thank you.
I'm not exactly sure how I got the gig of top tips on exhibiting. But I can tell you that I do speak from some experience, and I look around the room today and see a couple of friendly faces that I've known for some time. You know, Ian Michael there from Laissez-Faire, for example, he and I have gone back some quite considerable number of years when we were doing things in different areas. And one of the fundamental experiences that I had was I've actually exhibited at quite a number of trade shows over the years, both here at ABEE. In fact, I recall when it was Sydney on Sale. So for those that are roughly older than or near my age, you'll probably remember Sydney on Sale. For those that are less than that, don't feel bad about not remembering. It was a long time ago. But it's to suffice to say that we were involved in trade shows in previous roles for a considerable period of time. And one of the challenges that we always had as exhibitors is that at the end of the show, if we didn't do well out of it, if we didn't make sales, or if we didn't build new relationships, or if we didn't achieve what we set out to achieve, assuming we knew what that was and we had a strategy, then the easy thing to do was to blame the event. The easy thing to do was to sit there and say, well, I didn't do very well, so therefore it's someone else's fault. When in fact I learnt after a long period of time that that probably wasn't accurate, and that a large amount of the responsibility fell on my shoulders and the team that I had around me at the time as the exhibitor. And I think that's the cornerstone to the message that I was going to try and communicate this morning, is the number of people that will turn up to the show, will stand on their stand and say, okay, we're here now, so bring it on. And in all honesty, I think it's a little bit naive that that's how that works. Certainly, and Karen will walk through later some of the plans that we've got for Sydney Event Showcase and some of the exciting things that we're actually doing to drive visitors to the show. So rest assured the visitors will be at the show. Across the corporate sector, across the association sector, people who do a lot of events over a year, that what I would call bread and butter events, where they're doing meetings, they're doing small conferences, small to medium conferences, they're doing gala dinners, they're doing cocktail functions, they're doing product launches, they're doing a range of things, and they are there to identify new products, new services, and to try and get their head around what is actually different. The fact is they will be in the room. And you'll be in the room. The question is, how do we engage? And that's the real crucial thing. And I know that Felicity Zadro, our colleague from Zadro Communications, is going to touch on some of that a little bit later on. But the key for me is making sure that we don't stand on the stand, we don't fold our arms, we don't stand there with our telephone in our hand, you know, Facebooking and going, gee, you know, it's only 6 more hours until I get out of here. This is your showcase. This is your opportunity to engage. And if you look at it from a mathematical point of view, if we said to you in your respective businesses, get on a plane, fly around Australia, go and meet 10 clients, and then engage with all of those clients and hopefully do business with all those clients, it would cost you thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. This is bringing all these people in. We've got some plans afoot, which I said Karen will touch on. Cheryl Cacchetto, who will be a keynote speaker at the event, who's an absolute legend in Los Angeles, for the delivery of G'day USA and the Oscars and so on, will be there. So she'll be able to impart information which will provide a learning opportunity for many people that are in the room. The great thing about people coming to hear Cheryl speak is when Cheryl's finished speaking, they'll be out on the floor. You need to be ready for that. So a few of the little tips, that just things you need to consider, and I know this sounds a bit 101, and please don't sort of roll your eyes and go, gee, everyone knows that. You would be surprised those that don't. I've been to exhibitions and stood on trade show floors enough times when people go, gee, I meant to bring business cards. Gee, it's a pity I didn't bring them. Please? Seriously? And that has happened. Make sure that your collateral is accurate. Make sure that your preparation for the show doesn't start an hour before the show starts. It needs to start a month or so before the show starts. You need to sit down internally with your team and you need to determine what your strategy is. You need to determine a roster system. It's probably not a good idea to have one person there from 9 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, because it is fairly testing. Now, some people don't have the option because staff levels are smaller and they'll need to have people there for the duration. What I've actually found historically is if you've got enough people, it's a really good idea to do a little sort of roster system internally. So you've got 2 or 3 people, or 2 people in the morning, maybe 1 or 2 to cover that lunch break period, and then a couple of people in the afternoon. It means they're fresh, it means they're enthusiastic, and it means they're not standing there going from one foot to the other, sort of working out how long this is going to take to finish. So just think about your structure with your staffing. If you have the luxury of having 3 or 4 BDMs within your organisation, see how you can spread that out and let people work across the day rather than have one person there all day. That's something worth considering. In that preparation period, make sure you sit down with those people in your office before you start. Make sure they understand what the message is, understand what you're trying to achieve, what's the purpose of being at this event. Make sure you're all on the same page. It's not just about networking and catching up with old friends. I mean, that might be part of it, and that may be a key part of the objective, but it's not the only part of the objective. So you need to be clear a month out what it is and that you're trying to achieve. One of the other things that I think is really important, and I know that through info salons you'll have the opportunity to scan the barcode and you'll get names and addresses and so on. I always like the idea of just looking away from technology for the moment, and we always kept a little sort of notebook which we pre-prepared, and it had names and numbers and whatever, and we stapled the business card to the top of it. And when I sat down and started writing down information as people were talking to me, it actually sent a message to that customer or that client that I was really listening to what they were saying and I was really engaged with them. I'm not underestimating the value of technology. Technology has its place, but I think it's also important that you engage with people and you ask them questions, not just, thanks for coming by here. Do you mind if I scan this? Thanks very much. Now, what's in it for me? Thanks very much. Goodbye. It can sometimes be a little impersonal. I'm not saying it's not good value. It is, because you need to keep the database, and I get that, but sometimes it's worth just asking questions and saying, tell me more about your business, tell me what you do, tell me what you're trying to achieve, how many events do you do in a year, what size are they roughly, generally what time of the year are they. Get some of those sort of 3 or 4 questions that you as an exhibitor need to know, whether you're a caterer, whether you're a venue, whether you're a PCO, whether you're an event organiser. It doesn't matter what role you play in the events industry, you can't substitute quality information. And I like the idea of the kind of just writing down the notes, and we'd write down the name of the client, have a business card there, and it would tell me how many events they did and when they did them and what size they were and roughly what time of the year. And when you could get that information, you can then plug it into your CRM system and you can start to get reminders that you need to call this person 2 months before the event, etc., etc. So just little things. Don't just sort of, we look at technology and go, yeah, it'll do all of that, and it takes the human part out of it, and I think that sometimes it can be a negative. That's pre-show. On the day, please make sure your stand is interesting. We've all seen stands where there's just a 3x3 and someone's got, one piece of collateral, and it's not, this is your shop floor. This is David Jones. This is Meagher. This is attractive, this is interactive, this is engaging. I'm not suggesting for 1 second that you need to go and spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars on a stand. Some people will do that, and that's fine. But there's creative ways that you can make the stand engaging, and you should do that. Colour and movement's always good. Whether it's florals or whether it's some other form of decoration that people walk past and look and go, wow, that's nice, that's interesting, and they want to engage with you. They're really simple. I think it was the Four Seasons Hotel from memory that have exhibited at at this show over the years, and you've all seen them because all the girls turn up in bathrobes. Remember? Now, it's what it's basically saying is that you know, we're a luxury hotel. You know, we're relaxed. You know, we're friendly. Their message wasn't about their meetings business. It was about their spa business and the things that you can do after the meetings. And it was a nice idea, and it certainly got people looking and talking about it because it was just different. Think about that. Think about what you can do creatively to make the stand a little bit more attractive, so when people walk past, they'll at least stop and look. Even if they're not planning to meet with you or engage with you, at least they'll stop and look. If they stop and look, that gives you a chance to engage. That's at the show. Then the most important thing, and I can't accentuate this enough, and that is follow-up. How many people do we know that go to the show, they come out of the show, they'll complain or concern themselves that you know, there wasn't enough buyers, or there wasn't enough this, or there wasn't enough that, and down tools, lights go off, you know, and then we make a decision on whether we go to the next show or whether we don't, and there's no follow-up. Please follow up. That's what those people are there for. Those buyers expect to be followed up. Those buyers are sitting there, they're looking for new product, but so many people don't do it. They come out with a scanned database that they've picked up through the scanning of the lanyards, and they get access to the spreadsheet, and it sits there and nothing happens. A simple email the day or two after the show saying, thank you for coming to visit us. It was a pleasure to meet you. We really enjoyed it. Please allow me to, you know, you've got all my details, which they've got anyway from your card that you gave them at the show. But look, I look forward to following up. And if you can remember some of the stuff from those notes I was talking about that they're going to do, then you can include that. I remember that, I note that you said that you were doing a dinner in November for 300 people, and I'd welcome the opportunity to talk to you about it. I know you're busy. I won't bother you now about it. However, I will give you a call in a couple of months' time, put it in your CRM, and then give them a call in a couple of months' time. That's what they're there for. We're there to do business. People are not there to hide from you, nor you from them. We're there to do business, whatever that is, whether it's selling, whether it's branding, whether it's engaging with new customers, whether it's meeting new people. We're there to engage with people, so please follow them up. Please engage with them. You've got all the technology in the world. You can SMS people, you can email people, you can call people, heaven forbid. Heaven forbid you could actually go and have a meeting with them, which would be unique. So let's engage with these people and let's follow these people up, and that's where the relationship builds. I think one of the important elements too of trade shows is, and I know that I found this myself from experience, is the business that we invariably get doesn't come the week or two after the show. It can come 6 months after the show. It can come a year after the show. I was getting calls from clients who said, remember when we met in 2011, and we really didn't have anything going, but I enjoyed the conversation we had. Now we've got something. It was 2 years later. So it's an investment in the future. This is not a short-term fix where we talk today, make the sale tomorrow and deliver the product the next day. It doesn't work that quickly. That's not what it's about. What this is about, and I think if I can steal some words that Jan Michael actually mentioned to me outside, he said, I'm his trade ambassador. I'm the facilitator that allows his customers to meet with him, and I put them all in one room and he can engage with all of these people. So they, at Laissez-Faire, are using this show to be the trade ambassador for their business. He doesn't have 50 or 60 BDMs on the road, nor should he. What he does is he takes the mountain to Muhammad. So treat this as the trade ambassador. It's a really good suggestion. So the three key things: please do some preparation before you start. Sit down with your people, go through it, don't leave it to chance. On the day, please make sure that the stand looks good. And again, I'm not talking about spending millions, but some colour and movement will work. And thirdly, follow up. When we get to the end of it, there's no substitute for following up. Hope that helps. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary, for those tips. I think the great thing about meeting up now is that we have got the time to prepare and ensure that we're putting together the right plans for a successful show leading up, on site, and of course after as well. We are set for a really good show, a really exciting show. We've got a lot of things that we've enhanced this year, and of course different ways that we're interacting with visitors to actually get them to the show. And I'll just talk you through some of these features, one being the VIP buyer program. This is new to Sydney's Event Showcase. It's something that ABEE, the co-locating show, has run with previously. However, this year we really looked at that program and thought, how can we improve this? How can we change it and make it better? So we have made this program applicable to both shows, and we're attracting between 60 and 80 buyers. And offering exhibitors the chance to go into the system, go into the Presdo Match system and make appointments. This is in addition to your stand, but it is a fabulous tool for arranging or pre-scheduling meetings. All of the buyers in this program have been pre-qualified. They meet the criteria of decision maker, and they have actual business that they can do with you. So if you have got questions about that one or would like to know a bit more, and we've got Andrea and Raina here that can answer any questions about that, and of course myself and the rest of the team. Okay, so just to tell you again a little bit more about the features, because features are benefits. They're things that drive visitors to the show. They're things that engage them. Rendezvous Central is a central area, as the name gives away, a central area on the show floor, and a chance for you to take clients off the stand, perhaps have a meeting, have a coffee, have a business discussion. We're working with Harry the Hirer in this particular area. They've got some exciting themes to come, but this area really is for you to meet, have a coffee and get to know your clients a little bit better. Another feature is the interactive kitchen. Now, we know that these areas are of interest to our clients because our research from the years before tell us. This area is hugely interactive and allows caterers to come in, display what they can do. Chefs that want to highlight something special about what they can offer, this is a great way to showcase and get people involved. Event seminars, like Gary touched on, we've got international keynote speaker Cheryl Cachito. Cheryl is the event organiser for the Oscars. We're really pleased to have her on board this year, and already we've seen a real spike in ticket sales. As Gary mentioned as well, around these times, which is on day one between, I think it's 11:30 to 1:30, there will be an influx of people, so just be prepared for that. This session is set to be very inspiring for event managers, so if you can get along yourself to see this session, making sure that someone's looking after the stand, that would be advisable. Other high-profile Australian industry speakers, Brandon Geen from Good Designs Australia, Grant Whitehouse from George P. Johnson, and topics in the seminar include event technology, theming, decor and entertainment, future events and design. So the event seminars cater for every type of person that organises events. So we have the PCO, corporate marketing managers, hotel and venue management, PAs, EAs, event coordinators. Every group is catered for in the event seminars. And again, this is to really drive the right visitors to the event and engage them. Bite tastings is another feature that we have on the show floor. So if you are in catering and you are looking to prepare some interesting dishes or canapes, then this is an area for you to utilise and circulate the floor. Has anybody been involved in bite tastings before? Anybody here? No? Okay. Party After Dark is another feature. And also an opportunity for you to let your hair down and network. Where this year it's at the Ivy, and we'll all be transported by bus after the show. It's from 6 till 9:30. Drinks, canapes, just a really good time, really good chance for people to enjoy themselves and as I say, network. So those are some of the features. Any questions about that we can address after after Belinda. That's it from me. Felicity. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen, and good morning, everybody. I'm just going to run through a little bit about how to make the most of your exhibition stand and opportunity, and also just mention some of the things that the show is also doing. So we are the marketing and public relations partner. This is our 4th year working on the show. And myself and my colleague Diana Spencer and another couple of people from the team are working on the shows, and we actually start in December, so we've been working on this for a little while now, so lots to share as well with you. So one of the things that we like to That's my slide. One of the things that we like to consider, and this is sort of going on from what Gary has said, is that it's really important to see the Sydney Event Showcase as 2 days in a broader campaign. That is the best way of managing your involvement in a trade show. Gary mentioned about the pre-show and then organising all your bits and pieces, and then at the show and then after the show. And we like to consider that really like an 8 or even 10-week campaign, where the 2-day shows are really the jewel in your crown. And it's important to have that anchor, but it's either side of those days are just as important. And taking a communications approach to managing your trade show stand, I think, is a good way to get everybody engaged. And I've been involved with this show for a long time, and I've taken lots of clients to lots of other different shows in other industries, and the same type of formula does work. So in terms of the pre-show, there's the preparation component, then there's the promotion component, and then obviously at the show, and then after the show. So, for the pre-show preparation, as Gary mentioned as well, we get to the end of the show, and I'm just going to move forward to the end of the show at the moment, and everyone looks back and says, okay, was that actually a successful show? However, the evaluation mechanisms for that need to be set at the beginning. And this show particularly, the exhibitors come to this show for a lot of different reasons. Yesterday we had the Australian Business Events Expo briefing, and I spoke about one client who actually exhibited to get his business aware or in the minds of another business that he wants to buy him. That was the sole purpose of him being there. So his whole campaign was wrapped around that. Other companies will use the show to launch a product. Over the years, companies have used the show to just test road a product before they even go to market. It's to meet people. If you have a new product in your range, if you're a venue, often this is this is the perfect place to launch it. So it really is important to establish why you're exhibiting. Now, a salesperson will always say sales. A marketing person will say promotion, brand awareness, leads. A HR manager will say, oh, well, maybe we'll do some interviews on the stand, or we'll try and work out who's there. Everybody has their own agenda in your business. So it's really important to get the key people to sit down and consider why we're going, because therefore you can work out your strategies to make sure that you can achieve those objectives. So that's very important. It's not always obvious. The next thing is, I know the team worked very hard to put together all the documentations and for the show, and we have Belinda who will go through all that later on. But it's very important that you read the information, because in that has all the marketing tools. You don't want to miss the deadline when you get your 50 words into the event directory or on the website. I won't talk much about making a display fantastic because it's been mentioned, but from a communications perspective, we really recommend having 3 messages on your stand, and 3 only, because you know what it's like yourself when you walk those aisles. There's so much going on. There's so much colour, so much movement. You're walking one way, you bump into 1,000 people, you forget why you're even going this way. So when you're turning around and looking at stands, if their key messages aren't standing out to you, then that's not going to work for you. So it's really important that you have top 3 key messages. And I know that you may want to have lots more, and that's fine. And you can talk about those when you actually have conversations, but make sure that your stand is wrapped around 3 messages. Conduct a pre-show briefing. Now, the reason why we have, I like to break up this show into a campaign that goes pre, post and pre at the show and post, is because it's much easier to engage your colleagues into the process. If your only message to your colleagues is, we need to sit down now in June and talk about a show that's in August, event people just go, yeah, whatever. Like, that's an eon in event land and everybody knows it. So you're better off running the campaign, setting your dates, and then getting people involved. And I found that's a much easier way of doing it. So pre-show promotion, this is communications, it's all about how do you talk to your database? What are the reasons you go and talk to your database? Well, exhibiting at a show, a very high profile show like this, is a very good reason to go to your database, to invite them, to call them down, to even register for them, to ask them to go to a seminar, to see your new 3 things at your stand, to meet your new BDM, your new sales manager, to talk to each other. So your current clients are very important in your involvement, and obviously your prospective clients as well. Because when you get invited to go to different things by a supplier, I think it's really important because it says to your client that these people are in the know. And if your client goes down and has a great experience, whether they talk to you for 5 minutes or not, you're still the conduit to that experience. So it builds credibility and trust. So it's a really good idea to invite your database to come along. A lot of the times I've seen over the years people using old collateral and then just dumping it at the show and using it as a way to just get rid of it so you can make some new collateral. That's not the place to do this. It's really important that we do have collateral that is fresh and relevant and up to date. And I really think that it's important to have a piece of collateral that links to your stand. So if you're having something that's your top 3 messages, or you've got a new theme or colour or something about your stand, then expanding that into a piece of collateral that's, doesn't have to be 8 pages long, that I think it's really important because it connects the experience of going to your stand with the piece of collateral that will then link to the EDM or the e-newsletter or the whatever you send afterwards. In terms of the pre-show promotion, we're working with ETF and we have an enormous amount of media partners involved with this show. All your usuals, what you would imagine, so your Event Connect, your Mice, Spice, the CIMs of the world, all those ones which pretty much cover our industry. But also we've brought on this year Mumbrella, which as a marketer is the one that we listen to, very influential. So we're looking for news stories and information to feed back into these media partnerships. So a media partnership, we have space in their magazines to write editorial, and we also do press releases, of course, but also advertising as well. So there's a whole component around those. And of course with social media, we find that the Sydney Event Showcase social media channels, LinkedIn, Facebook and Twitter, as well as the co-located shows channels, the same as well, are very active. And what we are offering you, and when you signed up to become an exhibitor this year, and as last year, but this year as well, you have access to a free media channel. We are your media channel. We have a very big audience for this show. Online, on our database, getting your exhibitor profiles in the newsletter goes to thousands of people. Your social media inclusions is going to a lot of people, and we can see the stats, so we know that. So we really encourage you from now until the show and even afterwards to send your news, to interact with us on social media, because it's a free media channel for you today. And I think that this is a huge component and value of the show. And I must say that every year it's offered, but not many people take it up. I don't know why, but it's something that is of real value. And if you want to talk to me about it, or my colleague Diana, please just call us and we'll talk you through. It's very easy to find, and as an exhibitor, you're able to interact with that as much as you like. So at the show, be interactive. That's been mentioned. I think it's very important. as I said, your top 3 messages. Really look at how you will approach visitors. Now, just because you have some gun salespeople, it doesn't mean that they're good on a trade show stand. It really is something that people need to learn. It is a skill, and the way that you can teach people is to actually prepare them the most. So sit down with people. I like to run through and give people run sheets, you know, what the dates are, where Party After Dark is going to be, the seminars, what year the show is. And the more you know about the show when you're standing in your little shop in this show, the better you're going to be for your visitors walking past. So it's really important that all your staff know about the show as well as what it is that you're going to say about your product or service. So what is the answer to what do you do? You know, those types of questions need to be discussed. Lead generation, I agree with Gary wholeheartedly. You know, normally we would have a sheet that actually has somewhere to write down. It has all that information, clip the business card, and actually make it like a little survey so you can actually circle who's going to be following them up and when, very important. Collateral I mentioned before, people who are giving away things, or there's a lot of people have lolly jars, of course, or florals, or collateral, or bags, or whatever your thing is. Make sure it's appropriate and make sure it's something that people can carry as well. It's kind of, if it's not something that people want to hold around and walk, or it's heavy, or it's awkward, people won't take it, obviously. So just give some thought to that as well. But the show is obviously, it's alive, there's lots of colour and movement. You know, be sure to tell your staff when the breaks are and all that kind of stuff to keep them fresh and watered and fed as well. So after the show, this is the next part. I always think it's best to have, you know, one person managing the follow-up process who then assigns to everybody else. And it's really important that everybody gets involved with this and that everyone understands that 5 o'clock on the second day is not when this campaign is over. The campaign hasn't finished yet. You need to put in your follow-up procedures. I have a lot of people say to me, you know, they went to the show, no one rang them. I just find it extraordinary that happens, but it does. So, you know, consider that you're obviously active, engaged people. That's why you're here, and you have the best opportunity because other people aren't doing that. So really put that in, lock out your days. And I know it's a big deal to take 2 days out of your working life, but you really need to make more days the week after to follow that up. And obviously making that more efficient, you know, you can build your systems into your CRMs, etc. So what we've done to help with all this is actually created the Exhibitor Planning Guide. It's basically I've got the Australian Business Events Expo one here with me, but it's actually a Gantt chart that goes through and breaks down each of the steps that I've just mentioned into more actions. And that is available to all exhibitors. If you haven't received yours yet, then please let us know and we'll send it through to you again. It's just a good guide. The idea is that you go in and you make it yours and you delete things that's not relevant to you and you add more steps and you put some names in and some dates and some costs and actually use it as your campaign tool. So we really encourage you to do that. As well, we're also available at any time. These are the Facebook, Twitter, but it's all on the website as well. And as I said, we're here to answer any of your questions, and I wish you all a really good show. Thank you very much. I'll hand over to Belinda.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Belinda Maund, and I am the Exhibition Operations Manager for Sydney's Event Showcase. After speaking with a few of you outside, I noticed that a few of you are familiar with SES, Sydney's Event Showcase, sorry, I have a habit of abbreviating, or exhibitions in general, so I won't take up too much of your time going through all of the detail as to what you need to do with your stand preparations. The role of the operations department is to successfully deliver the logistics of the event for the exhibitors, the sponsors, but most importantly the visitors who will be attending the event. whilst I ensure that the overall interaction of the event is made with the venue and the contractors, my main focus is to ensure that the exhibitors have everything under control so that they're prepared when they get on site. At the end of the day, you're what makes the exhibition. By doing this, we put together an exhibitor information manual. The exhibitor information manual is an online tool and it's purely for the exhibitor use. It is a secure online portal and the username and passwords have actually been emailed to all of the exhibitors this week. There are 4 sections within the manual. The first one being the A to Z information manual. That's the home screen that you'll see when you log in. Within this section, you'll be able to download the manual that pretty much tells you anything that you need to know. It'll have the dates and hours for when the event will be taking place. It'll have the display information, rules and regulations. It'll have all your contact details for all of the contractors that have been appointed to work with us on the event. Pretty much any question you've got, there'll be an answer in there. And if there's not, then just give me a call and I'll make sure that I add it in. Secondly, there is an area just pretty much that houses your contact details. This is just so the people, this is pretty much our record showing who we're talking with. This doesn't get displayed anywhere, so if you're not the right person or you've got a PA or a coordinator that should be managing all of this sort of stuff for your company for the event, then just change their details here and then we'll be continuing on to talk with that particular person for the planning side of things. The third section is the compulsory order forms section, which pretty much just houses all of the different forms that you must complete. So even if it's something that you don't need to tell us about, we still just need you to say, no, we're not interested or something like that, just so we can gauge as to where all of the exhibitors are with their requirements. And then the final section is just the additional services section. This is where all of the different downloadable PDF documents are for the suppliers. So they're not compulsory at all, it's just they're there for your access. I do encourage you to actually log in and go through the different forms, read the manual, just get familiar with what you need to do, and also ensure that any of the forms that you do need to fill out are actually done by the deadline dates. There are 3 dates that you need to be aware of, the 14th of June, which is coming up quite soon, the 5th of July and the 26th of July. The various forms fall within those 3 dates, so just get familiar with which ones fall on what dates. If you know those 3 dates and you adhere to them, then your planning will be absolutely seamless and fine. I'll take a minute to highlight the different forms found within the compulsory order form section. Inside this section, we have a mixture of marketing forms. As Karen was touching on with the feature areas, we have a number of forms for the interactive kitchen, for the entertainment showcase, bite tastings, etc., where you can register your interest in becoming a part of these. So they're located within section 3. We also have a form for co-exhibitors. So if you have a company that will be co-exhibiting with your stand on site, we need to know about them. And the reason we need to know about them is so we can ensure that they're included in all of the event listings, which feed onto the website, go into the event guide, go into the official show app, and also onto any exhibitor listings that are in on-site signage on site. So make sure that you let us know about those guys, and then they'll have the opportunity to enhance any of those listings as well, just by speaking with one of the team members. The all-important website and event guide form. If there's a form that you need to complete first, this is the one. The reason why it's so urgent is because we have a website that is live, and if you haven't completed this form, then your profile's not up to date. So the first thing you need to do is just confirm all the contact details that you want your visitors to see. So if it's the BDM or the salesperson within your business, make sure that their contact details are the ones that go into this particular form. You then have the ability to write a 50-word profile that creates a profile listing within the website, and you can also upload your company logo. So that will then all feed into the exhibitor list, which is on the website, and that's all within your exhibitor package, so it's all complimentary. That same information will then go into the event guide, the printed event guide, excluding the logo. That would be included in an enhanced listing. You can also beef up your profile to 100 words if you wanted to. So if you wanted to take up the opportunity of doing an enhanced listing, that's definitely possible as well. So that's really important to make sure that you get that one done pretty quick. We no, I've skipped ahead, but anyway, we've got the social media form as well within the marketing area. That's just going on with what Felicity was saying. What this form is just an ability for you to tell us, the event, what your page addresses are for Facebook, for Twitter, for LinkedIn. What we will then do as the event, we will then take the information that you've given us, we will find you, we will connect with you, and then, you know, we can get on with socialising with one another. Then with the on-site related forms, you know, they're not all the ones that are within the compulsory order form section, but just a few of the important ones. As you have a stand at the event, you'll have staff, and staff need to be registered. That seems obvious, and the only reason I bring this one up is that we ask that you register your working staff via the exhibitor registration form. But if you have other colleagues or members from your company that will be coming down just to attend, just to visit the event, or just to come down and see how your display is, we encourage you to ensure that they register as visitors. I mean, registration for visitors is free, so it's just so we can ensure that the audit of our statistics is correct at the end of the event. There is a serious, or some may say boring, side of the event, which is your health and safety. We have a health and safety statement which is on the manual. We require all exhibitors to read this, any staff that will be working on site to read this, and we just ask that you write down, list the names of those who have actually read the form, just so we know that your staff are aware of all the different occupational health and safety sort of points on site. The venue being Sydney Convention and Exhibition Centre also require all personnel who need to come to site for any of their events to complete an online induction. Don't worry, it's not as tedious as it might sound. It's got 7 simple questions, and if you don't get a chance to do it before you get on site, then there'll be ability to do it when you're there. Whilst I'm on the same tenor, insurances is another very important side of the event. Some of you have chosen to purchase public liability insurance through ETF's insurance broker. So if that's the case, that's not a problem, that's fine. Those of you that have opted not to do that, you then still need to send us your certificate of currency for your public liability insurance coverage. Or if you decide that you do want to actually purchase it through our insurance broker, that's the form where you can do all of that. And then stand display, I mean, at the end of the day, I need to know what you guys are all doing on site to make sure that you have everything under control. Some of you have purchased a shell scheme package, of which I'm not sure if you saw it on the way in. There's a shell scheme actually built outside today by Exponet. And some of you have purchased just a space-only stand. Depending on what you are, the form will ask you to submit different information. So if you're a shell scheme, we'll just need you to confirm your company name sign to go on your header board, of which you should think about making the same as what you have in your event guide listing, just so the visitor sees the same sort of company name in all locations. And if you're a stand display, if you're a space-only stand display exhibitor, then this is the place where you need to upload your custom stand design for my approval. All stand designs need to be approved just so that I can ensure that they comply with the display information and regulations, both from a safety point of view, but also in order to comply with your neighbouring stands as well. We don't want to be having monstrous stands built which is blocking off all the line of sight of different exhibitors. Then we have all of the additional services in section 4. I won't go through each of these forms individually. They are self-explanatory as to what they are. There's just a few of them on the screen at the moment. So as an example, if you needed to order some furniture, you can just pop into the furniture form. Exponet, who's the furniture supplier, their catalogue will be there, their order form will be there. The rest is obvious. So that's where all of the different additional things are. So they're not compulsory by any means, but if you need anything, that's where you'll find them. Then we have our suppliers. This is the last slide. I just wanted to kind of give you an update as to who ETF has officially appointed to work with at the event. Our main supplier is Exponet. They're our official general contractor. They are the ones that will be installing all of the shell scheme. They'll be the ones laying all the carpet. They're the preferred supplier for all of the furniture. They're the electrical supplier. They're pretty much a one-stop shop. So if you need anything to assist you with whether you're a space-only stand or whether you're a shell scheme stand and you've got odds and ends, or you needed to display something on a wall and you need wall shelving and all that sort of stuff, Exponet are the ones to see. As I say, Exponet have built a shell scheme stand outside, and we've actually got Gary McNamara from Exponet here today, who will be able to answer any questions and assist you with any of your requirements. Another important supplier that we're working with is Info Salons. They're doing a number of things. They're actually managing all of the online and on-site registration for the event. We have Deborah here as well, who has brought along the visitor trackers that Gary was talking about earlier on. So if you wanted to see how they all worked and get an explanation as to how best to use them, not literally just scanning a badge and going, great, I've got a database, she can explain to you how to best utilise the technology but still get the same outcome as to what Gary was saying earlier on. And then just a few others. We've got the venue that do, the cleaning. They're the sole caterers for the event. If you're doing any food sampling or cooking on your stand, they're the ones that you need to talk to with regards to permits and the like. So all of that's explained throughout the manual, and the rest of those contractors, their contact details are all in the manual as well. So that's me. As I say, I'm the Exhibition Operations Manager. The Exhibition Operations Coordinator, who works really closely with me, she's based in Melbourne. Her name's Morven Grant. So if you need anything at all, big or small, we're both available at any time. And if you haven't received your username and password for your online exhibitor information manual, check your junk mail, but also just let us know and we'll have those resent out to you. And I look forward to working with you all on what I know will be a really fun and fulfilling Sydney's Event Showcase. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Belinda. Well, I just thought I'd open it to the floor now just to see if you've got any questions, if we can help with anything. Has anybody got any questions? Everything okay with the exhibitor manual? All pretty straightforward. Feel shy? Okay. Well, we're just popping out for a coffee now as well, so if you've got anything that you'd like to ask, please do. Thanks very much for coming.